welcome back to Listen to Myself. This is Pearly. So if you're listening to my podcast through watching my video podcast, which is something that I just made recently, like turned it in also into like a video version of my podcast. Oh my God, I just hit something. I'm so sorry for the scream. But anyway, like I'm again at the park. I don't know, I just feel like, yeah, right now with a microphone that I have, I hope it's working. Yeah, with the microphone that I have, like I can literally do my podcast anywhere I want because, yeah, I no longer need to be afraid of the audio quality if it's not going to turn out good. And anyway, before I started this episode, I first want to talk a little bit about my life lately, like a little bit of the life updates, because I feel like I haven't been posting for quite a long time, both on YouTube and on Instagram. Well, on YouTube, I was sort of like taking a break, but on Instagram as well. Actually, I went to Thailand. I visited Thailand like last in the beginning of September. So I just came back like a few days ago, and it was my first time in Thailand, and also like a solo trip that I haven't done for such a long time in my life. So it was a really, how do you say, eye-opening and a very, very great experience. Especially I visited like Bangkok and Chiang Mai, and it's like Chiang Mai like really, really surprised me like beyond my expectation. And yeah, I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that part of my travel in my like YouTube videos on my main channel. But just to let you know that, yeah, the reason I'm not really posting is because I've sort of like taking some time for myself, and I feel like lately I have been quite stressed about making contents. I don't know why it makes me feel stressed, but I'm really glad that I have this like little podcast with like much smaller audiences. So I feel more, I don't know, like at ease, at least, like when like sharing things here, like, yeah. I'll talk more about that later. I think I'm gonna make a videos about that, like always like that. When I encounter some problems in my life, I was like, I'm gonna make it into a content, and like I feel like this is a great way to document my things. And also maybe if you are struggling with the same problem that I have right now, or if there's anyone out there on the internet who is also struggling with the same problem, oh my God, like the weather is so amazing right now. I can't believe it, because I think 2 hours later it's gonna be like so freaking hot that I'm not gonna be able to like just like sit here right now. By the way, it's like, what time is it? Wait, let me check. Oh my God, this episode is just turning it like, it's so casual. But anyway, it's 8:14 right now. I intentionally woke up a little bit early today in order to like be able to come out and film a little bit. And oh my God, right now the weather is just amazing. Oh my God, I just dropped one of my earrings, but never mind. So today I want to talk about. Can you with me for a sec? I'm gonna wear my earring. Okay, I'm good. Thanks for waiting. Anyway, today I want to talk about it's okay to slow down in life. So, let me first ask you a question. When I talk about slow down in life, or like just like the concept of slow down, what is the first image that pop up in your mind? What is it? I think for me, whenever someone mentioned about like slow down, or like if I think of anything that, like I want to slow down, relax, or things like that, I always think of like, vacation. Maybe I'm on an island near the beaches and near the ocean, and I'm just like lying there, or I'm like in a jungle on a mountain, and I'm just like listening to birds singing, lying there, slow down. Or Maybe I also like think of like my life in the countryside, and it's just like it's so laid back and just like the pace is much slower. Yeah, so what about you? Like, what do you think of when it comes to like slow down? When someone's like mentioning slow down in life. And I think, well, to me, it's actually quite interesting because I think I would assume that most of us live in a rather big city, or at least like, it's a pretty, like, it's a rather fast paced environment. Or even if you are not living in like, fast paced society or like in a big city like me, I think right now with social media, everything is so fast, and like there's like overload of information out there, like just a lot of information. So even through like just like using the internet constantly or scrolling through social media constantly, it makes us also feel like fast. The pace, and it's just everything is just so fast and so stressful, can be stressful. And I find it interesting that, especially when I'm traveling, I always encounter people. I always meet people that, like they said that the main reason they want to come to this place, because they're too tired in their job. It's too fast, it's too stressful, it's too fast paced. So they come to this place to relax, to slow down in life. But I actually challenge you to try to think of a way maybe you can start doing that, practicing like a slow life, even if you are still living in a big city, in a very fast paced environment, or like in a pretty stressful workplace. Like, I wonder, what can we do? Like I would think it's actually easier to think of way to practice a slow life, like starting from like right now. Like, you don't have to move anywhere in order to do that, or you don't have to take like a very long vacation in order to do that, because that's not possible for most of us. So I wonder, just like, what action can we already do, like in our life right now, like in a big city life, in a fast-paced life, in a stressful workplace. Like, what action can we take already? I think we all have this, like, human have this tendency that when we want something that we don't have, we are always looking at from like in somewhere like far away from us, like, or somewhere that is not that easily reachable. For example, like, you have to just go to this island, go to this countryside, go to this place in order to slow down, in order to feel more relaxed, in order to like blah blah blah, but sometimes a lot of things can already be found like just near us, or already in our life. We can do that, but it's just that we never think of that way, and we never really reflect on that, like how can we do that. But I really do think we can start doing that. What do you think? So actually, I would have to admit that I'm a person that loves to rush. Like, sometimes I think I'm maybe even like already addicted to like just rushing all the time and like living in a very fast paced environment. I don't know what caused me that way actually. I think a lot of different factors, like I've been living in like very fast paced, like big city for my whole life so far. And also, I would also say that, like, I'm really close to my mom, and she's also someone that is, I would say, quite fast paced. Like, not, I wouldn't say like she's like rushing, but I would say she also loves to do things that in a very quick tempo. Like, okay, this one done. Next thing, next thing, next things. And So maybe like just like seeing the people, close people around me, and also my living environment that caused me to become someone who also kind of become addicted to like the idea, but not only the idea, but also I love the practice of just like rushing. And I would say that maybe the feeling of rushing is like, I think it's given me this, how do you say that word? Like adrenaline, and also like the dopamine it offers me that makes me feel just like good. And that's why I keep doing it. And also another thing is because I think by rushing things, by doing things fast in like short period of time, it makes me also feel productive and efficient. And I guess I really just like the idea of being productive. I think all of us, like, I think productivity is like positive, for sure, positive thing to be able to do, to have, but not overly like, I don't know. I think it's a good thing to do and a good characteristic to have, but not necessarily something that you need to achieve all the time. What's, I just wonder, even if you're not productive, what what changes is going to, okay, yeah, I do admit that there's going to change a lot of things, but it's also always better to be productive. But I don't know, I just started to think that maybe I don't need to be productive all the time, and sometimes there's some advantages of not being productive. So I think being always like doing things like very fast paced and just like rushing here and there, and sometimes the ironic thing is that I don't even know why do I rush. Like sometimes I remember that I was just like riding a bicycle to somewhere, like riding my bike to somewhere, and I was just like trying to just like speed up so fast, and then trying to just cross this red light before it turns. There's a and before the lights turns like green, no, before the lights turns red, I was just like rushing all the time. And I don't even need to rush. And it's not like I'm going to be late for something, or I have something important going on, or like like I'm lack of time, or like I have like a tight schedule that day. No, not at all. Sometimes I just rush for the sake of rushing because it just makes me feel good, like the dopamine, the adrenaline, and all this like hormone it provides me, maybe just makes me feel, yeah, I did something so efficient, I'm so productive. I crossed this red light before it, like a traffic light before it turns red. Yes, I did a good job, something like that. But I think the consequences of doing it all the time, well, it's true that there are some advantages of rushing all the time, I guess. But I think the negative effects is like way more intense. Like, and I think it's like affecting me like unconsciously as time goes by, I would say. So I think it caused me to become someone who is constantly kind of like in this like very uptight, how do you say, like feeling. And like I felt stressful, I felt anxious, I felt very unsettled, very uptight. It's just because like whenever I like slow down, try to relax, I actually felt guilty of doing that. I feel like, no, I couldn't slow down. I need to be fast because I'm going to do the next thing later. Even though sometimes I don't even have the next thing to do, but I just feel like it's not okay to slow down, like everybody is like else is achieving so many things nowadays, like just by scrolling through social media. Yeah, like everybody's like doing so many things, achieving so many things. Then how could I slow down if I wanna like just be as amazing as the people I saw around me or on social media. And I think there's like a myth that if you are doing a lot of things like fast or like in a short period of time, like if you achieve, maybe that's not say just like rushing is like a pretty negative, I guess, a kind of like negative phrase, but I would say maybe not even rushing, but just by, just doing a lot of things in a short period of time, accomplishing a lot of things in a short period of time, achieving a lot of things in a short period of time. I think maybe there's a myth that it's good to do that. Like you can always achieve more when you are doing it fast, doing it in a productive way. But I don't know, like, is it really true that we are gonna get more things done if we are like doing it in a fast way or we are rushing it? Maybe we can get more things done, but not necessarily in a good quality, or maybe we are going to make some mistakes because the thing is like when you are like doing things fast or like rushing it, you tend to make more mistakes. And also, I think one big problem with that is that when you are doing things like fast, you are not really take time to yourself. You're not really taking time to yourself or like slowing down intentionally do that. You couldn't think clearly. Like there are lots of things that only when you actually like slow down can you think clearly, like whether it is something that you want to do or whether this is the direction you want to move toward. And, what's the point of doing the things you are doing right now? Is it something that you really feel meaningful of doing? Or is it something that just because someone asked you to do that, you do that? Or if the society asks you to do, like the society makes you feel that you should do that, so you are doing that. I think when you are doing things in a fast pace, you actually miss out a lot of opportunity to reflect. You know what I mean? And I think those opportunities very, very precious. And I know I've already talked about this for like so many times in my like previous like episodes or like, videos on my main YouTube channels, but at that time, I would say one of the reasons I just like kept moving forward, my goal of becoming like a lawyer to go to law school thing, like this path, one of the reasons that I never really stopped, like I didn't get to stop earlier and realize that this is not like a path for me. One of the reasons I would say that is probably because I'm rushing this whole thing. Like I just like, I never take time to myself. I never slow down to reflect a little bit, like what I am doing at that time, is that something that I really want? And I also find it like interesting how I figure that sometimes the reason that we do not slow down is not because like we don't know how to slow down or we cannot slow down. It's also because like we don't want to slow down. I know, like you might be wondering why we don't want to do that. Because I think if you slow down, at least that's what I found in my case, that when you slow down, you have more time to be with yourself, to reconnect with yourself, to maybe a lot of more time to like just like go blank and just think and just like let random thoughts and emotions to come into your mind. And a lot of times I think we notice that when we slow down, a lot of like scary thoughts or like lots of like uncomfortable feelings started to pop up in our mind. Maybe like when we slow down, like our bodies try to then use that space to signaling us that no, what you are doing is really just not something that you want, or the work that you are doing right now is really just not for you, and this is like not just not a way you want to live, or things like that. And we are afraid of facing these thoughts, so we are trying to just like live in a very fast pace, like how to say, like we had like we use like rushing, or like living a very fast paced life, this kind of lifestyle, to kind of distract us from those unpleasant feelings that we will start to feel when we start to slow down, because we are having more time to let our minds just like think, like comes into to how do you say, to receive all these like random thoughts. And I find it really interesting because I also like experienced that myself, that like I use like doing things in a very fast way, in a very productive sense, like just like not slowing down, not even taking a break to kind of distract myself from experiencing those unpleasant feelings of like really just like I intentionally avoid those feelings to come into me, and my heart of feeling that kind of feelings. But I would say this is really not healthy, in the sense that, because just by distracting ourselves from those feelings, or like running away from those feelings are still there. It's always there. And I think in the long run, it's just going to make us feel uncomfortable and depressed and stressful, and just feel not good. You know what I mean? Because you never really deal with those feelings. You just like kind of sewed it in a box and put it in somewhere in your mind or in your heart, but it's always there. It's never disappearing. And I would say that by not slowing down, maybe the biggest disadvantage for me, like, or the biggest problem it caused me to have, is I'm feeling disconnected from myself. I feel like a lot of things I do when I'm like rushing is because I'm looking around people around. I'm looking around, and the people around me in the society, what they are doing are also going to be the things that I do. I just like follow what others are doing all the time, and I don't have my critical thinking ability anymore. I just like, okay, that person is doing that, I should do that as well. Okay, next. After I finish that, what am I going to do next? Okay, so next thing, I'm going to try to increase my salary. And yes, this thing done. Oh, what about next thing? Okay, I'm going to buy an apartment. Okay, this thing done. What about next thing? Okay, I'm going to get married. I'm going to have kids. I don't know, like a lot of things are like, maybe some of the things that others people do is also something that you truly want to do. But a lot of time we don't even know ourselves, like I actually don't think it's that easy to really distinguish between like what others are doing, if it's something like you also want to do, or it's actually not. It's always hard to separate that. That's what I find. But I think by having more time to yourself, by taking time to do things in a slower pace, there are lots of advantages. Like, you might make much less mistakes, and the quality is going to be better, maybe. And also, I think, yeah, the biggest advantage is that you can think more and just like reconnect with yourself more. And that's very, very precious, I think. And that's also very, very important, because after I'm still practicing right now, like slowing down, like even right now, I'm a self-employed, I'm self-employed. And I would say I live in a big city. However, I do also like can find like this little corner like this here that kind of like can make me feel more at peace and slow down. But I think sometimes I'm already so used to live in like a very, very fast paced lifestyle and like rushing here and there all the time. So like right now, once I started practicing it, actually also makes me feel very much, how do you say, like relaxed and much less anxious, much less stressful, and just like telling myself that yeah, I would have time to do a lot of things, and actually by slowing down I can maybe even achieve more, and actually achieving things that I genuinely want, not achieving things, a lot of things that actually not something that I want. It's like maybe my parents want, or the society want from me, or I don't know, my peers are like making me feel that I want that. So there are definitely a lot of advantages of slowing down. And yeah, so in the end, I just want to share briefly like what I do to try to intentionally slow down in life. For example, I started to eat slower because I'm used to be a very fast eater. Like I always like finish my meals in like I would say 15 minutes or so, like super fast. But I'm intentionally trying to eat slower right now to like slow down a little bit. And also like walk slower as well. I intentionally like try to walk slower because I used to walk, I still walk very fast a lot of time. And just like when I'm like doing things, finishing my, like filming videos, editing, scripting, and a lot of things, and I just like try to intentionally do it slower. I know it doesn't really make sense because sometimes like you have a lot of things to do. You feel like, why I cannot? No, I have to really do it fast because I have so many things like lining up and on my to-do list. But yeah, like just try to be a little bit slower. You can still do it fast, but like in a slower sense. And I also try to. I recently like started after my trip to Thailand. I really want to start to learn yoga and meditation because I always want to practice that, but I've never really done that consistently. I always like did it like one time and then I stopped. So I really want to do that, just have more time, just like doing nothing, letting myself train myself to do nothing, and maybe or just like simply spacing out sometimes and just do nothing and think about a lot of things, or let the random thoughts just come in. I actually find these kind of practices just very wholesome and very healing, and it makes me feel peaceful and relaxed, which I really like. But anyway, my camera is running out of battery, and I would say that's the end of today's episode, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope maybe you're a little bit convinced by me right now. Maybe you will also want to try to slow down in life. Okay, I'm running out of battery. But anyway, thank you so much for listening or for watching, and I'll talk to you again in the next episode. Bye bye.